Okay, good afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Cooper Union. My name is Troy Cogburn. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment, and I get to be among the first of many that get to say congratulations to the students and your loved ones on being accepted to the Cooper Union class of 2029 and 2030. Woo! This admitted student class hails from 30 states and 25 countries, and 21% are among the first generation in their family to pursue a bachelor's degree. And today, we're thrilled for you to learn what a typical day is like for a Cooper student. For some, that day might begin here in the historic Great Hall, which served as initial meeting grounds for the women's suffrage movement, the NAACP, and the American Red Cross, and where 11 US presidents have spoken. Or it could begin in one of our studios, our laboratories, or our workspaces. We hope you're very excited to visit every space on campus and to engage with our students, faculty, and staff. Before we get started, just a few important notes to keep in mind as you go throughout the day. Please keep your event wristbands on throughout the day, as they are required for entry into the reception this afternoon. Student Financial Services is available to meet in the Center for Writing and Learning, which is located right upstairs in the library. If you did not schedule an appointment in advance, you're still welcome to stop by today, and if a representative is not available, we will still schedule a virtual appointment for you for the early part of this coming week. Now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce our interim president and proud alum of the Cooper Union, Malcolm King, who would also like to share a few words of welcome. President King.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Cooper Union for the Advancement of Science and Art for our Admitted Students Day. And I guess this is the second. Congratulations to the students for your acceptance to Cooper Union, and also friends and family, congratulations to you, because it's your support and encouragement that helped make this possible. As Troy noted, you're seated in Cooper Union's Great Hall, and that was one part of Peter Cooper's vision to establish an institution that would be an enduring gift to society through advancing human progress. When the hall was opened in 1858, it was the largest auditorium in the city, and it immediately became a forum for critical societal movements. A few weeks ago, we commemorated the 165th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's Right Makes Might speech, which established him as a contender for the presidency. Troy mentioned that in total, 11 US presidents have delivered addresses on this stage. Also mentioned the abolitionist movement, Frederick Douglass spoke here, suffragist movement, Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. The NAACP held meetings here, among other very important organizations. Of course, you're here because of the other part of Peter Cooper's vision for this institution, which he describes in his 1859 letter to the trustees. And I quote, "I desire to make this institution contribute in every way to aid the efforts of youth to acquire useful knowledge, and to find and fill that place in the community where their capacity and talents can be usefully employed with the greatest possible advantage to themselves and the communities in which they live." The educational components have evolved over the past 165 years and are currently structured as schools of architecture, art, engineering, and a Department of Humanities and Social Science. But the curriculum and pedagogy have remained faithful to Peter Cooper's belief that education should be holistic, not only technical or professional, not solely intellectual or creative, but rather an education that combines all of these to enable our graduates to have a positive impact in a complex world. As Troy noted, I'm Malcolm King, interim president of Cooper Union, and I have a long history with the institution. I'm a 1997 electrical engineering graduate, and I've stayed connected to my alma mater for the past few decades. First, I was an alum participating in various alumni and student events, then as a member of the board since 2014, and most recently serving as board chair until last summer when our prior president departed and I stepped in to serve as interim. I've remained involved with Cooper for a number of reasons. I've really enjoyed staying connected to my fellow alums. Initially, those were my classmates, but now that circle has really widened because I've met alums who've preceded me and those who followed me over an expanse of decades. And it's been great to connect with them and also to connect with alums in other schools. A main reason, I'm very grateful for the education that I received and the experience that I had here. And I found it very rewarding to contribute to maintaining Cooper Union for generations to come. You're here today because you have an idea of what Cooper has to offer, and these things align with what you're looking for from a college education. Cooper will provide you with an engaging college experience that will be rigorous and challenging, one that will inspire you to push past limits you may have thought you had. It will also give you an opportunity to learn, think, practice, and create in new and innovative ways. And we're a small college, so Cooper offers intimate and integrated learning environments in classrooms, labs, studios, and exhibition spaces, where you can collaborate with students and faculty in other disciplines and other schools. Obviously, I'm very enthusiastic about my alma mater. I could go on for a long time about all the things I love about this place and why you should choose Cooper and come to love it as well. But that's not exactly the point of Admitted Students Day. The point is for you to experience the environment and community at Cooper Union firsthand. Some of you have not yet made your choice. In that case, you have the opportunity to use Admitted Students Day to help you decide. Please take full advantage of meeting our students, faculty, and staff today. Ask them direct questions about the things that are important to you. Get a feel for the environment where you'll likely spend the next 4 or 5 years of your life. Now, if you're here, we know that you have other attractive options, and we'd love for you to be a part of the Cooper community. But we understand that you really need to make the choice that will be best for you. Some of you have already made your choice. You know that you're coming to Cooper and you want to learn more about the institution and meet some of your future classmates. So for you, Admitted Students Day is about becoming more familiar with the institution and also meeting new people. So whether you're decided or not, I encourage you to engage with those of us who are hosting you, including me, to make the most of your time here today. I'd like to thank our staff, faculty, and students for making today's experience possible, and I also want to thank our incredible admissions team for putting together such a phenomenal class. So thank you. To the admitted students, once again, thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to welcoming you back in August. I'll now hand it over to Troy, as we'll have a panel of students and our Dean of Student Services hosting that panel. Thank you.
Thank you, President King. As mentioned, we are very excited to kickstart the day by having you meet our wonderful students. And our first panel of the afternoon will be moderated by our Assistant Dean of Students, Alex Fisher, who is going to be joining us on stage with students from all of our academic schools and programs. So I will invite Alex and our students to come on up.
Good. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Cooper Union. My name is Alex Fisher, and I'm the Assistant Dean of Students here at Cooper. Under my purview, I oversee student care, which is our student wellness, mental health, and all things wellness here at Cooper. I'm excited, we're excited as a panel to be with you for about the next 30 minutes or so, talking to you a little bit about the student experience. I'll ask questions related to and kind of academic adjacent, but also some about life outside of the classroom. While we only have a short time together, it won't be the last time that you hear from some of these students as well as others here today or this afternoon. So with that, we will jump in quickly to introductions, and we'll start with Metzley at this end and work through, and they will each introduce themselves.
Hello, everybody. My name is Metzley. I am a thesis student at the School of Architecture. I'm originally from New York City, born and raised. I chose Cooper because I really enjoyed the pedagogy. I saw a bunch of other schools. Because I was here in the city for my time at high school, I was always kind of around and in the neighborhood of Cooper, and I really enjoyed the work that they did. And to be a part of it now is a really special experience, and I can't wait to introduce myself more to the School of Architecture incoming students.
Hello, my name is Lizelle. I'm an electrical engineering major, class of 2025, and I'm from Queens. Yeah, Queens, woo! I chose Cooper because I came from a pretty big high school, and I think I wanted to transition to like a smaller school so that I make more connections with like professors and like actually the students around me. So yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Jacob. I'm an electrical engineer, class of 2025. I also grew up in Queens. Woo, yeah. And I chose Cooper because I was looking for a community of really, really passionate people.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Steven, and I am a civil engineering major, class of 2026. I'm originally from Rockland County, New York. For why I chose Cooper, I was also looking for a close-knit and a tight community here at Cooper, and class size was very important to me when looking for a college to attend. And so being able to foster those connections with my professors and with my classmates has been very important to me, and my 3 years at Cooper have been a testament to that. So yeah, congratulations, everyone.
Hi, I'm Amelia Ryan. I'm class of 2025 mechanical engineering. I'm originally from New Jersey, but I moved up to Boston right before I started school here. I chose Cooper kind of echoing what the previous students have said. I really like the community here. You learn a lot within your major from your professors, but your students also teach you discipline and endurance in a way that you won't really get anywhere else. I think Cooper has taught me so much, but specifically from who I go to school with.
Hello everyone, I'm Angelise Heredia. I'm an architecture student. I'm year of 2027. I chose Cooper, I'm from Jersey too, and I think I chose Cooper because it was close to home and also because the professor to student ratio is very good. I get to learn a lot from my professors and we get to have one-on-one conversations, which I think is very important for learning here at Cooper. And the classes are very small, which also help with learning from your peers.
Hello everyone, my name is Makai Vasquez. I'm part of the engineering school. I'm a chemical engineering class of 2026. I'm from Brooklyn. Why I chose Cooper, I had the rare opportunity to sit in on a class, biomaterials class taught by Professor Weiser in the chemical engineering department, and I got to experience the class setting, both the social and academic at the same time, and I fell in love with it right then and there.
Hi, I'm Jaden. I'm in the School of Art, class of 2025, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I chose Cooper because in the art school, you don't have to choose majors, and that was really important to me. And in that, like as a result of that, you can also kind of you have agency in creating your own education, which I really also appreciate.
My name is Zaid Rashad. I'm a student in the School of Art, class of 2025. I'm from Stone Mountain, Georgia. And I chose Cooper because I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to kind of treat art making when I came here. I'd never made art before. And Cooper, especially in the art school, focuses on a kind of multidisciplinarity, and yeah, I was really excited to kind of decide for myself what it means to make art.
Awesome, thank you all so much. So Jaden, get us kicked off here. Talk to us a little bit about and describe the Cooper community and how you've been a part of shaping that Cooper community and the student body.
I think also, not to go back into the last question of why I chose Cooper, but that is also a big part, is that it is so much of the Cooper community is shaped by the students. And it's a super small school. I think that's also why I personally chose it, but I think that that's what also plays a lot into the community, and it's also a really unique experience. I'm sure, as you guys have noticed, like our campus is these two the two buildings and kind of the city that you're in and around, which contributes to the community. I was in RA for 2 years, so I was in the dorms for 3 years, so I had a lot of hands-on kind of direct experience in kind of the foundation years of in the foundation year experience for a couple of years. And then I'm also one of 2 students on the Board of Trustees, which has been not only a fruitful learning experience personally, but also it has been nice to feel like I have a direct impact on kind of the larger scale and also influence on the larger scale kind of community, communal. It's been nice to have like large scale influence or a large scale kind of impact.
Awesome, thanks Jaden. Makai, talk to us a little bit about your favorite part about going to school in New York City and maybe a little bit about living or being in the East Village area.
So I like going to school here because I live here. I was born and raised in New York City, so I get to just be home where I already know a lot of the environment, but also the opportunities that I've been able to experience outside, just within the general New York City and New York State area have been phenomenal. Currently, I'm doing robot autonomy research at Mount Sinai, and I also had an internship at Pfizer over the previous summer in Pearl River, just upstate. So being a part of school in New York City has allowed me to take advantage of all the opportunities both in Cooper and outside the general area.
Thank you. Jacob, talk to us a little bit about clubs, professional organization, and other activities that you might be involved in here at Cooper.
Yeah, sure. I think one thing you'll notice at Cooper is people wear a lot of hats here. I've been part of a lot of clubs. My primary club of choice has been the Autonomy Lab. I started my first year, and I've primarily been doing firmware for the club, which has been really fun to have like this big engineering project on the side. And due to my dedication to the club, I ended up being the club leader last year, and now I'm handing off the reins to juniors once more. Beyond that, I took on a role as administrative chair of the Engineering Student Council this year. That's been really fun, interacting with admin, being the first to know like these important things, and also addressing the needs of the students to the administration. I've been part of the Electrical Engineering Micro Lab, where we take care of all the servers of the Electrical Engineering department, and now, since the Computer Science department is a thing, we'll also be taking care of that. I also help out with the IEEE board, so that's like planning fun events. And then you have like the random sprinkle in things, which is like, I did Saturday STEM one semester. I also go to badminton club, like games from time to time. And then when Tea Club was a thing, I went to Tea Club.
So the other thing I'll mention, I think Dean Kendall will talk about this a little bit later, but there's many professional organizations, student clubs here at Cooper, some just for fun, some based on identity, religion, other professional networking, or professional organizations where students go to other states, to competition, or to conferences, that type of thing. So there's a way for students to create clubs here at Cooper and to be part of that process. If the club doesn't exist at Cooper, we'll help you try to get that club created, and hopefully, potentially you'll find other students that want to be involved in or have the same interests as you as well. So, Angelise, I know Jaden talked a little bit about the Res Hall, but tell us a little bit more about being an RA, the Residence Hall experience, and what it's like to live on campus here at Cooper.
So yeah, I think one of the things that students can experience at the Res Hall is community. I think that it's very beautiful to see how these students come come from all different types of places and are able to engage with one another to kind of grow together. You know, they all learn how moving from home to on their own to clean on their own, make food for themselves, do their own laundry. And, you know, it's really nice to have other people that are experiencing the same thing and that you're able to grow and learn together. I also think that as an RA, it's been really nice to see how most of these residents have grown into young adults and how most of them, I no longer consider them my residents, but more like my friends now. And I think that's really nice. We also organize a lot of events for them, so there's always, almost every night or every couple nights, there's always an event where students can come communicate with each other, with us, if they need to talk to anyone. They get to experience, you know, making new friends and stuff like that, so it's very nice to see all the schools together in one building.
Maybe just throwing this out there too, to have the different experience, but does somebody who was a commuter, maybe their first year, want to talk about that experience of being a commuting student to campus? Go for it, Makai.
So being a commuter student is, it's definitely kind of like the other half of the coin. You still get to experience everything that Cooper has to offer, all the residence hall events, all of the on-campus events, but you also do have to deal with the subway, which is definitely, I'll put it interesting. My commute, I sometimes take the R train from where I live directly here, which can be like half an hour to 45 minutes or even an hour long, depending on how the train likes to behave. But being a commuter student does not mean that you are in any way limited from taking part in anything that the community has to offer. It just means that you travel from a different point, essentially. That's really the only difference.
Awesome, thanks. Zaid, do you want to talk to us a little bit about sort of your relationship with faculty? Jaden again mentioned this, but Cooper being a pretty small school, not that many students here at Cooper. You all have, I think, a very different experience in your classroom, studios, labs than a lot of students at other schools. So maybe talk to us a little bit about your relationship with faculty at a small school and what it's like being in small classes, cohorts of students.
Yeah, I think that kind of for both questions, you always feel sort of like you're a part of a lineage. And because you're in such a small classroom, you start to feel like you're really close to your professors and you can have conversations that are in depth in ways that you couldn't in kind of larger seminar situation. I've gotten to work with my professors on collaborative projects, both in the art school and even in the architecture school. And so then oftentimes there's even kinds of overlap between, I guess, professorial kind of information. But also that allows in your classes for you to get closer to your students and your peers, and they often have overlap with other kind of smaller groups. And yeah, with a friend of mine, Dylan, I co-run the New Public Forum lecture series, and we've kind of started this as a way of bringing back the IDS lecture series, which was ran by professors here who are formerly students, and yeah.
Does somebody from maybe engineering or architecture want to talk about your experience? I think it's probably similar, but it might be a little bit different, so.
Yeah, I can talk. It's just about like your professional.
Yeah, well, being in small cohorts, small class sizes, relationships with faculty and
Yeah.
other students.
I'd say in the EE world, we're all very tight with each other. I'm very grateful, like Professor Keene, he really pushed me to who I am now. Like, he got me to get an internship with Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and the work that I'm doing now is gonna be like my thesis for my master's degree as well. A lot of opportunities like that, and even my job for like when I graduate was from EE alumni who graduated last year. She like reached out and was like, hey, I think you should apply to this, and I got the job. I was very happy, but yeah, it's a very nice community, yeah.
That's Angeles. Yeah, go for it.
My advisor for the past 4 years is the chair of mechanical engineering, Melody Baglione. Some of you will see her later in the breakout sessions, but like even in that class size, I've seen her in Slaughter Cathlon. I've seen her as an advisor at teach classes. I've seen all the mechanical engineering professors, and I can say this probably for all the engineers too. You see them kind of from day one in freshman year. They get to write amazing recommendation letters because they know you so well. They start to form office hours and curriculum around you and really get to understand who you are as a student. And I think I'm very appreciative of the fact that it's a nonverbal way to communicate what you need, and they're very receptive to that too. That's something I've loved with a small class size too.
I can speak for the architecture school. So you have a class size of about 30, and then within each of your studios you have 4 professors. So the student-to-faculty ratio is typically 1 to 8. I think that that's kind of an incredible moment of really getting to learn. As Zaid said, the communication you have with your professors is, to a point, almost it's very colloquial and oftentimes very friendly. A lot of the times we speak to each other on first name bases, and they can really help you with your project if you're stuck. There's never really a kind of an environment here where you feel kind of less stressed, or where you feel a little bit like, how would you say this? Where you'd feel like hard to go up to your professor. Like there's a community and environment where you're often encouraged to ask these questions, and there's never a moment where you're feeling like these questions are stupid or they're not necessarily valid. I think the faculty size is often reflective of the work that we produce, because we're so ingrained with what we're doing, and I think that the professors see that and encourage that. And so I think in terms of the faculty ratio and the list is incredible, and I think that that is something that Cooper is very specific to Cooper. A lot of other schools are much larger, and the ratio is much higher, and I think that oftentimes can limit the performance of what you're doing and how you're doing it, and I think that that's something that is very specific and unique to Cooper.
Awesome, thank you all. So Stephen, maybe you can talk to us a little bit about an internship that you've had during your time here at Cooper, and ultimately how that has maybe integrated into your classes and other things that you've done here at Cooper.
Yeah, so I definitely seen a strong correlation between my internship experience and my coursework here at Cooper. Through my coursework, I've been able to understand how to interpret design drawings and how to do certain design calculations. And it's really cool because when you enter industry, you can see how you can contribute to a team, to a project. And so for my upcoming internship this summer, I actually was able to land that internship through professional society meetings that Alex mentioned earlier. We have the American Society of Civil Engineers, where we have many different alumni from different industries come in and talk about their experience from school to the industry. And through those meetings and through talking about our coursework, we're able to foster those connections. And yeah, I definitely really grateful for the coursework that's modeled here at Cooper. And Cooper definitely sets a strong foundation when you enter industry.
And some other things I'd say about internships, again, you'll hear from folks later today, but professional networks here, faculty members, really getting to know those members within the community. The alumni that are coming back here are recruiting Cooper students specifically for these positions. They know the training that students have got, from the faculty. Maybe they had the same faculty members when they were here, but students do really work with those faculty members, the professional networks, as well as our Center for Career Development to not only find an internship, but also jobs, whether it's during their time here at Cooper and potentially even post-Cooper. So there's tons of opportunities there. Students just have to sort of do a little bit of work and seek those out. So Lizelle, can you talk to us a little bit about any interdisciplinary or cross-disciplinary work that you've done here at Cooper and participated in, and maybe walk us through some of that and what that looks like?
Yeah, sure. So I came from an art school, and then I transitioned into engineering, and I really wanted to keep my art skills alive. So I think that was one of the driving factors of also going to Cooper, because there's a school of art and a school of architecture. And engineering students can also take art classes. My sophomore year, I thought it was pretty light, and I wanted to take a class in the School of Art. So I took a techniques class. It was a painting techniques class, and we literally made paint the whole time, and it was super cool. And it was just so different from engineering classes where you're in a lecture-based, you're in a classroom. In painting techniques, we were in a studio. It's the first time I've ever been in a foundation room, I guess. But yeah, I got to meet a lot of art students, and they were so cool. And then I wanted to continue on using both my engineering skills as well as my art skills. So in my junior year, I took something called generative machine learning for art and architecture students, which was engineering students can take classes with art and architecture students to make cool projects also. So we had an exhibit last year in April, and my project was like, there's like a sensor here, and they track your hands, and then depending on where your hands go, you like grow a tree that like shows up on the ceiling. It was so fun. And another project was like, when you build the Lego blocks, we had a camera, and then depending on like where you put the Legos and depending where you put the colors, it would make different music. That was super fun. There was also data science for social good, where I worked with architecture and art students to create posters for different nonprofit organizations. So last year I worked with the National Black Women Justice Institute to make a poster based on the incarceration of Black women and like how far they like go to jail. Oh, and right now I am in a class called Beer Lab that's open for 21-year-olds. Yeah, so I think the parents later, we're gonna be sampling some beer if you'd like to try when they're in the breakout rooms. Yeah, that was a year-long class, I'm still in it, and every other week we make beer. It's like a 9 to 5 of just making beer, so look forward to that. Very selective, only 4 students, engineering, art, architecture, and like a random one, so it's super close. Yeah, it's fun. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, so I believe the parents actually will be able to partake in some of those activities here in just a little while, so and experience that. Amelia, talk to us a little bit about how you've applied your academic knowledge outside of the classroom. I think I just heard you got a job for moving forward after graduation, so maybe talk to us a little bit about how your Cooper education has led you to that.
Sure. I will say the one thing that I've come to love about Cooper, and I thought I understood as a freshman, is that, and I've known more and more as I've graduated through these years, is that it teaches you a way of being, and I think it's become so advantageous when it comes to like being very efficient when it comes to a workload, and then seeking other opportunities when it comes to an internship or different projects. Within my 4 years here, I've gone to Solar Decathlon. It's a international competition where you try and design a net zero energy building that's up in Golden, Colorado. So international teams try and compete, and we ended up winning in the 2022 cycle, which was incredible to go and see other people who are really interested in this innovation, this cause. And then I've gone to the Naval Academy Science and Engineering Conference. That was off of the same kind of materiality, into different independent studies, kind of like analyzing energy uses within this building, the foundation building, all of those different ways that you kind of expand within the classroom, but also outside with independent studies and internships has just proven more and more ways to talk to different professionals. And I think that academic knowledge outside of the classroom has been so fruitful for me, and I think it's really nice to see how your knowledge can be applied and like build bridges with people who are post-grad, 10 to 20 years post-grad, and find different ways that you can kind of be integrated in a different community, but still have that like the Cooper community in a different community, and bringing that culture over, which is really, really important. Like Stephen and I have gone to the same company before for our internships, and I think that connection has been really, really important. I think kind of that academic knowledge has like really refined me and like how I communicate, and I think that's been more than like so advantageous with every other internship, every other conference I've been to. It's just more and more bridges get built off of what you kind of build here within the classroom. So definitely, I think that's what I have to say about that, yeah.
Awesome,
Yeah,
thanks. Metzli, 5th year, graduation, right? Talk to us a little bit about how your time here at Cooper has informed your next steps after graduation.
Yeah, so I think one of the really beautiful things about Cooper is that it shows you how multidisciplinary architecture is as a discipline. And I think that by the time you get to your 5th year, you are engaged with many different types of architecture, from curation to exhibition design to the kind of corporate route or the smaller scale firms. I think Cooper does a really good job at trying to kind of curate those experiences to allow us to get access to all of these different types of disciplines. We have a course that is a mandatory course that every thesis student takes called Professional Practice. That's a two-semester course where you're taught the kind of routes of your NCARB to get accredited so that you can actually become licensed. There's often several firm visits that we go to as a class. Speakers come in and talk about different routes. We just had a really interesting lecture on the chief architect for the GSA. So many different routes that you can take are really exposed to you, honestly, from the get-go, because you have a faculty list of people who work at different firms and at different locations. The career fair is something that's also a very big part of the Cooper experience, and that's open to all students in the School of Architecture, where you go and you sit with architects from different firms, and they'll critique your portfolio, your resume, and really get you prepared to enter the workforce. I think there's a lot of on-campus jobs that also prepare you. I worked at the archive on the second floor for, I think, 3 years now, and I think that has also really helped with giving me a different experience on what architecture can be, from the scale of the detail to the scale of a building. And I think that that's something that Cooper, rightly so, is very proud of, is really exposing to the students a different type of architecture than just the corporate route. And as for next steps with graduation, there's the Career Center, which really helps you, again, refine these things and gets you in contact with a lot of people. I think the network that Cooper offers is probably one of the best in the country, and I think that to be a part of it is something really beautiful. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So I didn't tell them I was going to ask some of these questions, but I'm just going to throw some questions to them about their time here at Cooper. So maybe, what's your favorite thing about Cooper? I mean, you talked a little bit about why you came to Cooper, professional networks and clubs that you're involved in, but what's your favorite thing about Cooper? Give you a second to think about it, but you all can just kind of popcorn too.
I can go first. I think one of my favorite things from Cooper, besides like the education that I'm getting, I want to say that it's probably the friends that I've made here. I can see myself being friends with them for a lifetime, and I think that's we've grown together, we've been able to help ourselves, like each other, and I feel like it's very important to have someone that you can grow with in an education level, because I don't know, it's very hard sometimes, but having someone beside you to have these same experiences is very helpful. So, friends for sure.
I would say like the silliness. A lot of the work is really, really hard, but we do find the time to joke around and mess around in the labs. I will say there is a lot of inside jokes as well, which is really, really fun. And it's nice to be able to work with people who can like goof around, but then be able to like just quickly transition into being very serious. So you never really get like exhausted working from your project when you're working with your friends, because if you get exhausted, you could just goof around for a bit and then you get back to focusing.
I will say we were very safe though, because I get very few reports about goofing around in labs and studio spaces. So it is safe. I will guarantee you of that.
Just to add on to that, I'll say, and I kind of echoed this before, I like how we all kind of motivate each other. Like, we're all going to do different things. We all are pursuing different majors, but within that, we all kind of like recognize a little bit of ourselves in each other. And I think that I found so much motivation between like people on the stage, but also people like I go to school with, people I interact with, or just see daily. I find a lot of motivation from other things those people are doing.
I feel like also just kind of generalizing what's been said, just the potential of Cooper students utilizing what's around you. The research that we offer, the classes that we offer, the friends that you can make, that just allows us to grow in ways that I don't think would have happened elsewhere.
And to reflect on these past 3 years here at Cooper, what surprised me the most is that Cooper Union is a small school, but the community here is very strong. I can walk in the halls of both these buildings and always say hi to someone I came across, to a friend just passing in the halls. I met some of my lifelong friends here, and we were able to grow together and learn from each other, and I think that's something very special to this institution.
Maybe we'll jump. Go ahead, yeah, if you want to answer, go.
Yeah, I mean, in line with what everyone is saying, I think that also something I've found at Cooper that's very special is that it's really made by the students. If the student body kind of collectively doesn't feel that something is correct, then they work together as groups to kind of address those things.
Awesome. So another question for you that I didn't tell you that I was going to ask, but what is being upper class students? Maybe what's something that you wish you maybe would have gotten more involved in sooner here at Cooper, and maybe you waited too long and you didn't have as long of an experience being a part of that? What's something you wish you would have done sooner when you started here at Cooper as a first year?
Yeah, I think I was unaware of like all of the resources that Cooper has to offer. I think that by the time you're a third year or fourth year student, you're kind of almost overwhelmed with all of the different things that you can be a part of. And I think that, again, because of all of this talk about the community and how it's made by the students, to be a part of all of these things at a different pace can really inform what you're doing in your personal work. And so I think that to be a part of all of these different things is a really important part of what makes Cooper Cooper. And if I were a first year student, I would love to have been more aware of all of these different things that I could have been a part of, because I think everything through some way or form always ends up working its way into whatever studio you're doing or whatever electives you have. The minors that Cooper offers, I think, are also very in line with what people can do with their theses or with their general coursework. And I think that just to understand the kind of sheer volume of what Cooper has in terms of its, not just its like educational resources, but just its community and its outreach, I think is really important.
I guess one advice I would give to myself as a freshman, I was a commuter student, and I had the habit of just going home after class because, I don't know, I just wanted to go home after class and not really mingle with any of the other students. I really recommend staying a little bit longer in school to just meet new people, maybe do some work at school and then leave. Another thing is when you're in your freshman year, I think we're all doing like required classes, so you're gonna have to take, for engineering at least, it's like math, physics, HSS, and those required classes, I guess in the engineering school, is where you're gonna meet mostly like other majors, and you really wanna really keep that connection freshman year, because when you get to junior and senior year, that's when you're gonna focus more in like your actual major projects. So yeah, be friendly to your peers. In HSS, you're gonna have like art and architecture students with you. Don't be afraid to like talk to them and be curious about like what they do also, yeah.
I'm actually really glad you brought that up because I took a year of EVT, which is an architecture class, environmental technologies, and I heard that from an upperclassman architecture student that I was friends with from HSS. So for me, I would say enrolling in different classes outside your major as early as you can, or for example, in that freshman year, it's a little hard. Try those different clubs, go to those different social events as early as possible. Like, spread yourself as wide as you can, like build that. And like that social endurance, I think is like, again, something that I think all of us have said like is really, really helpful. Yeah, I wish I did that a little more.
I think that I wish I was more involved in, not just because I'm an RA, but RA events. I think that the dorm did a lot of events that I wasn't really involved in because I was very stressed with like homework or stuff like that, but I think that now I look back into it and I'm like, it would have been very different or important to go to these events just to take the time off or to meet new people, meet other people from other schools. So I would definitely encourage the opportunity to take those opportunities to go to these events and just share free food, lots of friends, and they're very fun.
To that point, I will say we've literally gone through the calendar, and some students who say, I'm not sure where I can get a meal tonight, right? I'm so busy with classwork, I don't have time to run out and grab something. We've literally walked through the calendar, and there's an opportunity to get a meal almost 3 times a day here at Cooper. A club is doing a program with it. Our offices are doing programs, that sort of thing. So there are definitely opportunities to meet people and get free food. Jaden, you have one?
I wish I would have taken myself less seriously. I think that Cooper attracts a lot of like really driven and hardworking students, and I think that you can like easily get caught up in like, I think also like the conditioning of school is like, oh, I want to do the best, like I want to do the best, I want to be the best, I want to make sure I do everything right as it is assigned to me. And you will be busy, but in that busyness, there is a lot of room to fail. There's a lot of room to explore, and I think a lot of my best learning experiences have come from like letting go and being free and being willing to fail, to learn and to explore. So I think I would have not taken everything, like it is school, so you have to have assignments, but in those assignments, like there is the freedom to make it your own and kind of make it geared towards you. And I think that also just kind of ingrained in the school, as long as there's that, that dedication and commitment to learning in whatever you do, like you really can't go wrong. So I think I wish I would have done that more.
And I just want to say, just like remember to take a break and rest. At Cooper, it's really, really easy to, I guess, stretch yourself too far. So you can overload really easily at Cooper. And once you go over 21 credits, it's considered an overload. And I remember I overloaded initially, and I'd wake up in the morning and be like, wow, I literally don't have any control of my life. I have to do my work. But I've learned to, what's it called, like appreciate time for myself. And then like, you could do like fun things with friends. Like I've had plenty of days where I'm just like with friends, like let's go biking at midnight around the city. It's completely empty and it's really, really fun. Like silly things like that, which make you a lot happier than just being caught up in your textbooks all day.
Awesome, thank you all. So we're about out of time, so I'm going to ask the final question. I'm going to ask for everybody. Some of you have touched a little bit on this, but you all were just in these seats a few years ago. What's sort of a closing pitch, one piece of advice that you would give a student who's considering Cooper?
Come to Cooper. And I would also say, just have fun while you're here. I mean, we already talked about this, but there is many opportunities to be able to do your work, but also take time for yourself and have fun. I will say that when you come to Cooper, you should take up like the opportunity to not just do your work, but just have fun. Like, I think that's the most important thing while learning and being in this transition of like being in high school to college, and yeah.
You get to go to school in one of the best cities in the world, so.
Yeah. Definitely, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Going to Cooper, one, is amazing to have that home base because you have that close-knit community, people you can really lean on and again, like motivate you and like really have that interdisciplinary knowledge and communication. But also, you have the home base to go out and try new things in New York City, which then leads you to across the country or different ideas that people from internationally are talking about. Like having that home base and then being able to feel encouraged and strong enough to go and do that, I think has been an amazing part of Cooper. Yeah.
I think a piece of advice that I would leave our mid students with is something that I held with me from my admitted student stay 3 years ago. And that advice was that you deserve to be here and that you were selected to come here for a reason. You were admitted here because you don't just check off the boxes. You have the potential to contribute to the amazing community we have here at Cooper. So yeah, everyone I've met here at Cooper has something special about them. And I'm able to foster those amazing connections, make those personal relationships with almost everyone I run into. So. The Cooper community here is very special, and you were selected to contribute to that, so I think that means a lot.
Yeah, I just want to build on that. Like, the fact that you're sitting in this chair means that multiple people in the administration thought that you belong here. And I would say, like, come to Cooper if you want to push yourself to become the best you. You're going to come across some of the most brilliant and creative people that you'll ever come across in your life.
I feel like also just don't be afraid to speak out and kind of leave your comfort zone and break out of your shell. Because me personally, a lot of people don't believe this when I tell them, but I used to be one heck of an introvert when I was in high school and middle school. But after coming here, I knew I would have to kind of break out of my shell and kind of exit my comfort zone to connect with other students, to connect with other opportunities. And I think that if I wouldn't have done that, it would have been a little bit more difficult for me to have all the opportunities that I've been able to experience. So everyone's very friendly here. So definitely don't be shy to reach out to professors, reach out to students when you have help or just wanna mingle.
Others? No? Good. Go.
I'll just add one more thing. For the next 4 years, you're gonna probably be seeing the same faces again and again and again. And hopefully you get to know, like, you should aim to know like at least one little thing about everyone. I think in at least this year, like your class of 2025, I like know like 90% of the engineering school. like all the engineering students here, I like know and I see on a weekly basis. But yeah, you're gonna see a lot of the same people, even the professors. You're gonna have some classes with the same professors like more than once. So yeah, be nice, be friendly, yeah.
Awesome. So I hope that we answered some of your questions today. Maybe we didn't get to all of your questions. This isn't the last time, though, you're going to hear from some of these students, obviously other students, staff, faculty, this afternoon. We're here to answer any questions that you have or work to get you the answers to those questions that you might have if we don't know the answers. So I want to thank the panel for being here. And thank you all for coming today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. I know you have a very hard decision to make now. If everybody could remain seated, though, I'm going to invite Troy back to the stage, and he will talk a little bit about next things on the schedule. So thank you again.
Our students are fantastic, right? Can we give them another round of applause? You will absolutely have another opportunity to meet with these students and more students throughout the day and during the reception. Now, though, is the hour where we split our students and your loved ones up. I think someone had mentioned something about brew for the parents. So what we are going to do is provide the students with an opportunity to have an intimate look at our academic spaces throughout campus. And while we separate families, I'm just asking parents and loved ones if you can please stay seated while we make sure that the students can move throughout the buildings. So I'm going to start by just calling out groups by major, and you'll just head to this back area here. One of our admission team members will be holding Peter Cooper's head, or one of the signs, there they are, our talking heads. And we are going to start by asking our students admitted to the BFA program in our School of Art, if you would please meet Juan and our team members, we will move to your session. Students only, parents, please just stay seated for a few minutes and then we will certainly have time to stretch. The students in the art program are heading to the Peter Cooper Suite, which is in the top floor of this building, where they'll be meeting with more of our faculty and administrators in the School of Art. Welcome back, welcome back. I hope that you've enjoyed the intermission and the snacks. Please remember, as you're coming back in, save a seat for your child. They'll be back within the next hour here as we conclude this next panel. Okay. Great, welcome back everyone. As you're getting seated, please remember to save a seat for your child. They'll be joining us in about an hour. Okay, I know that we still have some families that are making their way in from the hallway, but I am very much looking forward to the next section of our program. We felt it was very important that you, the parents, the loved ones, understand what your child is about to embark on academically. And there is no better leadership and colleagues that I would like to tell the story of the academic experience than the academic deans. So I will be introducing each dean, and then we have a series of question and answers that we are going to share with you from their perspective. And then this afternoon during the reception, each of the deans will be available. Hopefully, if you have questions, you'll come up and engage with them one-on-one with your child, and you can learn more independently of what their experience will look like at Cooper. So, I'm going to start with introductions from my left to the right, and I will begin with Haley Eber, who's our acting dean for the Irwin S. Channon School of Architecture. Dean Eber.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Troy, and welcome everybody. It's great to be here. As Troy said, I'm Haley Eber. I am the acting dean for the Irwin S. Channon School of Architecture. I love Cooper Union. I'm a proud alumna. I've been teaching here on the faculty for about 18 years, and I have worked my way up through faculty, assistant dean, associate dean, and now acting dean. As I like to say, I've been a passenger, a driver, and now I'm a mechanic. First of all, congratulations to your student's admission, or your child, to Cooper Union. It's a huge accomplishment. I spent time with the admission committee looking at all the home tests, and they were remarkable. They were creative, expressed a versatility across all media and facets of drawing, creativity, and model making. And I think the fun times still await. I would just say that this is a critical moment to embark on a career in architecture. We are in a period of intense global and environmental transformation, but also one of enormous potential. For a School of Architecture, the question of how to meet the present to prepare for the future is paramount. Our challenge is to form and refine a disciplinary vision that contends with the state of the world and our cities and grapples with meaningful things like climate change, the housing crisis, and environmental degradation, but at the same time foster creative, innovative, and inspirational design practices. It is as much as a career path as it is a call to action. So we're excited, and again, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Eber. And next to Dean Eber, it is my pleasure to introduce our Dean for the Albert Nurkin School of Engineering, Dean Barry Shoup. Oh, there you go.
There we got it. Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome, and I'll add congratulations that you're hearing from many of us and many others. The fact that you and your children's or loved ones are here today is a huge, huge accomplishment. Getting into Cooper Union is no easy task, so congratulations. As Troy said, I'm Barry Shoup. I'm the Dean of Engineering here at Cooper Union. I've been here at Cooper Union. I'm not an alum. I have my undergraduate degree. I'm an electrical engineer by trade. I have my undergraduate degree from Penn State, my PhD from Stanford. Been here 6.5 years. I came to Cooper Union after retiring from just about a 39-year career in the United States Army. Last 25 of that was at West Point, so it was just upstate New York from here, depending on how you define upstate. I am from down here, Westchester is upstate, come on. I am a retired brigadier general, so I am probably the only general in the East Village. Best I can tell. I tell people, come down to the East Village and look for a guy with short hair, no tattoos, no body piercings, no colored hair, and wears a coat and tie. That's probably me, so. Again, congratulations, as Haley was talking about, there's an awful lot going on in the engineering discipline, in the engineering field. The grand challenges of our world are, in fact, interdisciplinary, so you will find a lot of effort in the School of Engineering on interdisciplinarity, not just within the school, but with architecture and with art as well. You heard, and some of you are proud kind of recipients, if you will, of a new major, computer science. So this is the first class of computer science majors that we're admitting. This is a new department, the first new department in the School of Engineering in 100 years, and the first new major in 50 years. And so this is our foray into advanced and emerging areas where computer science will work with art, architecture, and with all of the engineering disciplines. What drew me to Cooper Union was the reputation. I knew when I was in higher education at West Point, the reputation of Cooper Union is second to none. From an engineering perspective, you can count on one hand the number of premier undergraduate engineering institutions, and Cooper is at the top of that list. And then when I dug down into Peter Cooper's vision and what Cooper Union does, that is what attracted me to Cooper Union and has kept me here since then.
Thank you. And to my immediate right, we have our acting dean, Nada Ayad, who is the acting dean for the Faculty of the Humanities and Social Sciences.
Thank you, Troy. Welcome, everybody. Congratulations to all of you and to your student. I'm the acting dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, also known as HSS. I've been at Cooper since 2016, right after I got my PhD in comparative literature at the University of Southern California. I was hired as assistant dean in 2019, became associate dean in 2020, and this is my first academic year as acting dean. What drew me to Cooper was very much Cooper's mission and how that mission was palpable and very much infused on all levels of the institution, not only inside and outside the classroom, but also in the very infrastructure of how decisions are made. I was really struck also, way before I got here, but how my now colleagues were speaking about the Cooper student and their magic, their singularity, their idiosyncrasies, their maturity, their intellect, their power, and their strong commitment to making the world a better place. Congratulations again and welcome.
Thank you. And then to the right of Dean Ayad, we have our Dean for the School of Art, Adriana Farmiga.
Thank you, Troy. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're so glad that you could join us today, and I would like to echo the congratulations to all of you for having your loved ones be admitted to the next class of Cooper Union students. As you heard, I'm the Dean of the School of Art here at Cooper Union. I am also a proud alumna of this institution, and I also have been on the faculty since 2011. I have also extensive experience working in the pre-college program at Cooper Union. I've been involved in student government. I've been involved on committees as an adjunct representative, so I feel comfortable in saying that I'm very familiar with this institution and all of its nooks and crannies. And I think what drew me to Cooper, not just as a student, but as a faculty member, having taught in a handful of other art institutions on the East Coast, was the interdisciplinary nature of our education. And we call it a generalist approach in the art school. And what that means is that we prioritize ways of learning that are unique to each student, which is a much more expansive and I think holistic way of learning art and learning specific disciplines, which you can eventually excel in and specialize in, but it gives you much more of a fluency in being a creative practitioner. The people that teach the classes at Cooper are world-renowned artists. The technicians that work in our labs and our shops are also practicing artists, and I think that milieu contributes to something really quite special at Cooper. Also the scale of this institution is, I would say, it's an intimate one compared to a lot of other universities and colleges, so your student will be very loved by everyone here and supported, and I think the students even said on the panel before that often they will be on a first-name basis with a lot of their faculty, and I believe that to be a very important feature of the experience at Cooper. But we can expand on all of that as we get into our conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. So the first question I'd like to ask of our deans is to think of some of the most successful students that you've known at Cooper. What habits and traits did they have? How did they take advantage of the opportunities that were presented to them during their time here? Should I start with the alums first? Dean Eber, how did I head your way?
Sure, thank you, Troy. I think to answer that question will depend on how you define success as a student. I mean, everyone defines success differently, and students kind of make their own journey through that. So success could be, how do they excel in design studios or with grades? Do they find internships and a great career trajectory? Do they participate in the community and be integral in public and community engagement? So I think success comes in many different stripes and colors, but I would say that characteristics or traits is just about taking advantage and just diving in of everything that we have to offer. And I think throughout today you'll see how expansive and extensive that is. So just stay motivated and ask for help when you need it, and we're all here to facilitate that journey.
Thank you.
I echo everything that Dean Eber just said, and I would add that being curious is one of the most prominent features of the successful Cooper Union student, and we offer such a variety of learning experiences, everything from casting in bronze to making paper, to working on letterpress, to making sculpture and paintings and everything in between. So I think being able to sample what Cooper has and to continue to be curious from the first day that you enter to the last day that you leave would be the ultimate recipe for success.
That's great. Thank you.
Thanks, Troy. The most successful students at Cooper are those who are open and curious, who are not afraid to try an idea, a course, a question, and most importantly, who are not afraid to fail and to recover from their failures. I've seen time and time again, I teach the first semester course, first-year students who are at the top of their classes in high school, and they come to Cooper and maybe they get their first C, or maybe they struggle through a very difficult text, or they struggle with time management. And for me, it's such an honor to bear witness to that and to remind them that they're not alone, that this is very normal, and if they knew everything, they wouldn't be in college. The other thing I try to remind students of is that there are so many people here, and I'm echoing what my colleagues are saying to help them. So not only the faculty, but we also have the Center for Writing and Learning, where students can sign up for one-on-one sessions with individual writing associates who can help them with whatever idea they're working on. And we also have the librarians who can also help them with their research and so much more.
In the School of Engineering, we have an incredibly rigorous curriculum. And you need to understand that the parents that you're sitting next to, each of your children probably came as maybe close to the #1 graduate. And so we have the very best of the very best students here. And in some cases, the students in high school didn't have to work so hard for an A. I'm here to tell you today that if your student gets an A here, they earned it. It's a very rigorous program. So what I would say is the successful students that I've seen have taken advantage, as you've heard. We have a lot of student success and student support activities here. Students that come in and are willing to go to office hours to talk to the faculty. That's what the purpose of office hours are. We have an academic resource center where we do tutoring. We have student tutoring, and we have a recitation from faculty in math, physics, chemistry, computer science, generally the core curriculum. And then we have a first-year seminar series that all of the students really should go to. It's voluntary, but they should go to it because it talks about time management, because you heard Jacob, one of our EEs, talk about overloading. Regardless of how our faculty advise the students, our students just want that one extra course, that really cool course that they want to take. So instead of taking 18 credits, they're taking 21 credits or 24 credits. You really need to have time management in order to be able to work through something like that. And so we have a huge portfolio of student support activities, and the students that succeed are the students that take advantage of that.
Thank you. A few of you started to answer this next question I had, but I think that there's some space to elaborate, and I'm going to head your way, Dean Ayad, because you do work with students from all three of the academic schools. What does support for students look like from an academic, personal, and professional perspective from their time, throughout their time at Cooper?
Thank you, Troy. So Cooper size allows for students and faculty to get to know each other really well, as Adriana was saying. And this creates the conditions for all kinds of support and exchanges of ideas, academic, personal, professional. In HSS, Humanities and Social Sciences, our classes cap at 20. So it's often the case where students will take several classes with the same faculty member over the 4 years that they're here. And over the course of doing so, a very specific bond can develop so that faculty can help students with several facets of their lives. And I would like to, echo again, outside of the classroom, there's no shortage of resources for student support. The Center for Writing and Learning, student care team, career development, and also the library.
Thank you. And would anyone? Dean Ebert?
Maybe I can just add to that. You keep hearing that the schools are small. I'd say especially for the School of Architecture, we're only 150 students in the whole school. I like to say that the School of Art is like California, the School of Engineering is Texas, School of Architecture is Delaware. We're tiny. We're the small school. I know everybody by name. All students have my cell phone number, for better or worse. We are a community. The studio, and I'm sure you've seen that in the walkthroughs, is a place where students spend most of their time. So it's one big room that they practically live in, and that cultivates a really great atmosphere. I meet with all the students twice a semester. Each student has an academic advisor to help them throughout their trajectory, and all schools have a version of a kind of academic or faculty advisor. We help them if there are issues in the classroom. We help them find internships and work opportunities. We help them with grant applications, even helping them with postgraduate studies. And on a community level, we've also instituted things like community dinners where we all come together at least once a semester. So it's just a kind of tight-knit, cultivating environment in addition to all the resources that we have available.
Thank you.
Yes, I think similar to what my colleagues have said, the scale of Cooper Union, we can't reiterate that, is extremely important. Also important to mention is that, or to mention again, is that the folks that are teaching your students are all practicing artists and designers and creative practitioners, which means that the relationship and the mentorship that the students get with their faculty already predisposes them to having a sense of what happens outside of art school. How does one develop a studio practice? What does discipline look like? What are options for an artist out in the world? So that's a very important component, but I maybe just want to rewind a little bit and say that that kind of support actually happens in the admissions process. And when your child or when your student applies to the Cooper Union School of Art, at least with the home test, there is upwards of 20 hours that's spent on each student's home test. So it is not an understatement to say that we have selected your student, we have selected your child in ways that they don't even know. So by the time that they come to their first day in their foundation year, we almost know everything about them. It's not creepy, it's just informed. But I don't think there's any other art school that that applies this kind of a diligence to the review of anyone else's applications or portfolio, and especially in our case, the home test.
I'd like to go back to a couple of the things that the student panel talked about in terms of support of students, and that's the club activities. So you've heard we have all kinds of non-professional kind of club activities. You can join the ping pong club or the ballet club or the hiking club, but within the School of Engineering we have a series of professional society clubs, and so the students engage with their profession very early on. So we have the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, or the double E's, American Society of Mechanical Engineers. And so the students, those particular societies are run by students, and so the students get leadership experience in those professions, in those societies. And those societies have a tendency to bring in guest speakers from industry. They bring in alumni that have graduated from Cooper Union that are currently working in industry. And so that tie is particularly important. We also have affinity clubs, affinity activities. So Society of Women Engineers is very active here, National Society of Black Engineers, and some of those other kind of affinity groups. And we send students and faculty to those annual meetings every year. And the final thing that I'll say is, and I think Jacob mentioned a little bit about this, is that a lot of our students in the School of Engineering engage in research with faculty. In fact, on average, 60 students in any given semester will be conducting independent research with a faculty member. And my full-time faculty is only 34, so many of the faculty are working with multiple students. And it's my responsibility as the dean. I tell faculty and students, if you do research and if you submit your research to a conference and you get it accepted, it's my responsibility to to get you to the conference to do that presentation. And so there is professional exposure for the students that leads to jobs, internships, collaborations, and mentorship outside of Cooper Union. So I think that's another very strong component within the School of Engineering.
Thank you. And Dean Shroop, I'd like to stay with you for a moment. Study abroad is a very unique experience at the Cooper Union. I think that if you visit other institutions, there are a lot of schools that might have a semester at sea, or they might have a cooperative program, but also extends a student's degree plan if they want to study abroad. But at the Cooper Union, we seem to have really built partnerships that start in each of your schools that are extensive relationships, that there's a lot of community back and forth with that partner institution. Could you speak, starting with you, could you speak to some of those study abroad experiences in the Nerkin School of Engineering?
Sure, absolutely. Just by way of introduction, I'm not a big fan of study at sea. You probably understand why. There's this Army-Navy rivalry that goes on periodically. But yeah, we have in the School of Engineering, we have a fairly robust, and it's actually a growing study abroad program. We don't send students for a full semester. We send them for generally six to 8 weeks during the summer. And we've established relationships with some universities around the world, and that relationship is we can send students to their institution to conduct research with their faculty during the summer, and then they have the opportunity to send an international student here to study for one semester here at Cooper Union. And the places that we have current, I had to write them down, we have Germany, a couple of different universities in Germany, Spain, Singapore. I have to put my glasses on to see this. We just started a new program in Uruguay, Iceland, and then we have almost Engineers Without Borders. It's humanitarian in Guatemala and in Bosnia. And so students have the opportunity to sign up. When I first got here, students had to pay to travel internationally, and as you might expect, not a lot of students were going international because they could either pay their way to an international opportunity like that, or they could get a paid internship during the summer. We now have a very competitive process where I pay for all of the travel expenses for the students. They spend 6 to 8 weeks in a different country, and they can get up to 6 credits of elective credits towards their degree. They write 2 different papers when they return. One paper is a technical paper on the research that they were conducting, and the second was an cultural immersion paper of what they learned by living in this country for 6 to 8 weeks, and so they can get 6 credits towards their degree with that. And we continue to look for opportunities to expand that in engineering.
Thank you. And Dean Formiga, I know that there are quite a few opportunities in the School of Art, but it's a different experience than what this School of Engineering, or it's a different approach, I should say, than the School of Engineering. Similar, but different.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different model, but I think the competitive nature of what happens is generally the same. We have programs for students to pursue study abroad in a variety of different locations. The students have to be in excellent academic standing. They have to have a proposal written. They have to have faculty oversight, advising oversight. And once they are accepted into these programs, they can go anywhere from Japan to Germany. We just, since I've started being dean, we've opened up an exchange program with Mexico, and we are working on another exchange program in India, so we're expanding into the global south, which I'm very excited about. And the students inevitably who go on exchange come back with renewed vigor to finish up their studies at Cooper, plus they've had this incredible immersive international experience, which is always a plus.
Thank you. And you know, the School of Architecture is a 5-year program, so there's not as much time to maybe study abroad. But in my conversations with students, what I appreciate is I've seen a lot of study away within the States, having opportunities to work with professionals. And I know you still offer study abroad, but Dean Eber, what would you say about those opportunities?
Yeah, the School of Architecture does not have a study abroad program as it's defined in the other two schools, but we do, we try to, at least every student experiences a travel studio, because we only have 27 to 30 students per year. When we offer a travel opportunity, the whole year goes together. This year they went to Toronto. I think that qualifies as abroad. We've been to Mexico, Hong Kong, Puerto Rico after the hurricane. So actually we had an alum recently donate funds. So from next year we will be reinstating a permanent travel studio. We also have opportunities for travel fellowships at the end of 3rd, 4th, and during thesis year. We have a number of students apply for fellowships for travel that relates to a studio or research project. We've also just launched a post-graduation thesis fellowship for the year after you graduate. So one travel studio and many other individual opportunities for travel fellowships for our students.
Thank you. When families visit a lot of different higher education institutions, I think that a lot of them will hear there's a great community. You've heard that today from our students, from our staff, and our administrators. There's this wonderful community at Cooper. But how do we foster that sense of community? What makes our community special for who we are, not in comparison to another school, but just in our own identity? How would you describe what that community looks like? I'll start with you, Dean Ayad.
So there are plenty of opportunities, places, and food around which we gather. So we have full breakfasts every Thursday mornings, and they alternate between the two buildings, and it's a chance to see students, to chat with faculty, and also with colleagues. We also have community dinners every semester, and specifically in HSS, we gather several times a semester to attend different lecture series that are open to the whole community. So for example, we have a lecture series called HSS Faculty Focus, where HSS faculty present their current research, which the library graciously hosts. This past academic year, our visiting assistant professor of history gave a talk titled Propaganda as Affordances on Documenting Histories of the Cold War. And every semester, HSS faculty invite creatives and scholars and activists from around the city to help us think through a specific problematic. So for example, in the fall, we organize an American democracy lecture series, and in one of the lectures, a scholar from the New School gave a talk titled Fascism, Populism, and Wannabe Fascism in the Past and Present. And later on this month, we're hosting labor unions from around the city for a symposium titled On the Eve of May Day, Labor Then and Now. And the last thing I want to say about this is that my door is always open for students and faculty who have new ideas about fostering community and connection.
Thank you. Sure.
I mean, we've spoken, you've heard from a lot of us about the size, about the location of the school. I think it's really also important, we have a lot of public programming that each school does it in a different way. We have a lecture series and an exhibition series and a student lecture series. So every couple of evenings, there's an event where students get together, alumni come in. This coming Thursday, for example, we have one of our faculty members who have been teaching here for almost 50 years, Deanna Agrest, is having an exhibition opening. We have tons of alumni coming back. They're going to meet the students. They're going to engage with our faculty. So there's just a lot of opportunities for getting together at the end of a kind of long school day, in addition to, you know, being in the community of the studio for the whole day. So I think our public programming is key to fostering this like amazing community and get together during the evenings.
I think the other thing that I would say is that our faculty come to Cooper Union for a very different reason than they would go to, say, Harvard or Princeton or some other school. All of our faculty are focused on undergraduate education, first and foremost. I mean, we've got some amazing faculty from some amazing institutions, but they want to teach. They don't necessarily want to do research. And at this point in time, they certainly don't want to vie for any federal government funding. So we don't have that problem. But all of our faculty are deeply engaged in research, but they're here because they want to teach. And the scale that you've heard, we keep saying over and over again, small classrooms, small labs, it's a very, very intimate relationship. I mean, I talk to students and I say, if you want to sit in an auditorium classroom with 300 students in it and be anonymous in the back, don't come to Cooper, because your faculty are going to know your names. And that kind of sparks the intimacy.
And we also have exhibitions that run they open every Tuesday, so thesis or senior students that are graduating from the School of Art will open their exhibitions, and that inevitably brings out everyone from the community, and our exhibitions are all over campus. They're in the colonnade of the foundation building, they're in the lobby spaces of this building. We have a gallery space across the street in our very expansive campus of 2 buildings. So that, again, brings out the community. We also have a partnership with the Public Art Fund, so we have a monthly lecture series that the entire city comes to, but we prioritize the Cooper community, and inevitably that also fills up. So I think in addition to everything that the other deans have said, I could just add that from the School of Art's perspective.
Thank you. Something that I have found very unique to the Cooper Union is the sheer number of lab, studio, and workspaces that are available for students to research, to pursue interests outside of the classroom in a one-on-one setting or with a faculty member. But what do you find makes your program unique compared to other schools? Some of you had already discussed a little bit about research. I'm inviting you to expand on that, or if there are any curricular initiatives or developments that you would like to share with our families this afternoon.
Sure. So it's taken me a little while to figure out what the secret sauce is for engineering, but it's really a confluence of several different things. So I just talked to you a little bit about the faculty. The faculty that we have and the faculty that I've been hiring are absolutely amazing faculty. Sometimes I wonder how I've been successful in hiring these faculty. And I mean, they come from pedigrees, they come from institutions. I've got faculty in the School of Engineering from MIT, from Caltech, from Stanford, from Harvard, from Yale, Tier 1 Ivy League schools. So that's the first part. We've got amazing faculty that are focused on teaching. The second is who you're going to be sitting next to in just a little bit. The students that we select that come here are absolutely amazing. They could go anywhere. Your students could go to MIT. They could go to Caltech. Just amazing students. So you have amazing faculty, you have amazing students, and then our curriculum is very project-based. As Troy said, we do, in engineering, we do a lot of hands-on projects, and we have the labs to support that. And so when you mix the curriculum with amazing students and amazing faculty, absolutely amazing things happen. And that's kind of the secret sauce for Cooper Engineering.
We share the secret sauce with the faculty and the amazing students. I'd say a couple of things. I think the location is so critical. We have the opportunity to collaborate with institutions outside of Cooper on pedagogical and extracurricular projects. So for example, Help USA, which runs a lot of the New York City shelters, works with us on our housing studio in third year. We also collaborate with some of the museums in the city. We build museum models for some of the exhibitions. So currently we're working with the Museum of Modern Art on the upcoming West Africa Modernism show. We've worked with the Met. We have a collaboration with the Storefront for Art and Architecture. We've worked with the University of Puerto Rico post-hurricane on disaster relief. So I think part of our pedagogical ambitions is to as much get our student work out there as to get other institutions into Cooper and collaborating with us. And that's been an incredible experience for both our faculty and our students.
Well, yes, all of that, and yet within our own campus, our own facilities are bar none. So we can start with the Art and Architecture Shop, which is almost a full city block, or it's spans most of this building, at least on the 4th floor, where you will learn everything from working in wood to metal, all different kinds of metal, casting in wax, making molds out of plaster, pouring in bronze, and anything that falls in the range of materials in between. We also have an incredible printmaking shop where you can do etching, lithography, silkscreen. We have digital tools. We have a photo lab. We have an audiovisual lab where you can produce everything from 16mm films to digital works. And then we have something that we call the ACE Lab, which is the Art, Architecture, Construction, and Engineering Lab, also located on the 4th floor, where all 3 schools are able to take part in using the technology that we have there, which is everything from 3D printers to, I think they have a digital embroidery machine. So truly just like the best and most interesting tools that you can get your hands on. And of course, to my earlier point, all of the technicians that we have working in our labs and our shops are artists and creative practitioners as well, so that only enhances the experience.
Thank you.
So HSS is in a really exciting place. At the moment, we have the most incredibly committed and dedicated faculty, true leading minds in their fields, whose research spans across the disciplines of the humanities and social sciences. So the research focus of our faculty's expertise range from applied economics to Holocaust history, from the Greek classics to contemporary queer and trans art practices and theories, for example. We also are currently in the middle of hiring a social geographer to round out our social sciences offerings and to help in our continued efforts to revise the core curriculum. We also have faculty who have deep institutional knowledge, who share with me information about Cooper alum who have gone on to do different things. So for example, I don't know if you know this, Barry, one engineering grad influenced by her classics courses in HSS went on to do a PhD in classical archaeology, and now her research focuses on heating systems and fuel consumption in ancient Roman baths. I'm also really proud of the growing number of students who choose to graduate with a minor in one of the fields of humanities and social sciences. Our curriculum is constantly being interrogated and updated so that we can do our very best to provide the students with the tools with which they can define their own perspectives.
Thank you. We have just a few minutes before the students return from the academic spaces, so I'm going to ask one more question of the deans, but I invite you all to stay for the reception, and please, the deans would be happy to meet with you individually with your child to learn more about their specific academic program. The last question I would like to pose to the group, though, has to do with student success. At Cooper, our first-year retention rate is 92%, but what advice would you give our parents today on helping their student navigate through the next 4 years and being successful at the Cooper Union? I made them all stop.
Well, I'd be happy to start. I mean, you all have supported your child or your student up until now, so keep supporting them, keep supporting their curiosity. Dean Shoup spoke about how they come from the top X% of wherever they're from, and that remains true. But once these students get to Cooper Union, all of a sudden they become average Cooper Union students. And that's a big transition for them. So as long as they have the encouragement from their loved ones, from their families, to keep going, to keep being curious, that it's okay to fail, that it's okay to experiment and try different things, I think they will be okay.
So my advice for them would be to trust their gut, to trust their communities, and to trust their accomplishments. They've already gotten so far in life, and that they have all that they need to make the best decision for themselves. And one last thing I want to say about Cooper is I've never worked in a place with so many people who care so much about their students, their minds, their health, their development as specialists in their fields, and their well-being. This care, of course, does not manifest itself in the same way for everyone, but it is very palpable, and it's very inspired and inspiring.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to speak about rigor without speaking about support, and that support comes from everywhere. It comes from the faculty, it comes from fellow students, it comes from student affairs, and it comes from the home. I would also say if you cannot reach your student at any time, don't freak out. They're busy, they're working, they have a lot going on here, but know that they are in good hands. And I think if anything I would encourage is just good communication. They should reach out to us, to you, if there's anything that's concerning on an academic, on a social, on any sort of level. We're here for that. So good communication is key, that's all.
So you should know that when we have orientation and we have the engineers all in Rose Auditorium, the first thing I tell them is to stay in contact with their parents, okay? Because you all got them here. I mean, they did some of it on their own, but your support got them to this institution. And I tell them that during orientation, to make sure that they keep those lines of communication open. Some will struggle. As I said, we've got an incredibly rigorous program here in the School of Engineering. Transition from high school to any university is difficult. Transition from high school to Cooper Union is even more difficult. And so likely some of your children, some of your students will encounter that and will need a shoulder to cry on, to talk to, and make sure that you're there to support them. All of our faculty, all of our staff here are doing that. You all round that out.
Dean Eber, Dean Shoup, Dean Ayad, Dean Farmiga, thank you for being wonderful colleagues and fantastic leaders of the Cooper Union, our deans. So in the next few moments, our student groups will start returning. That will be about a 5-minute break or so. So if you have to use the restroom, if you'd like to grab another snack, please help yourself. And then we will regroup so that you can meet our Dean of Students, Grace Kendall. Thank you. All right, I hope everyone has had a chance to grab a quick snack before our last two sessions and we head into the reception. Our last two sessions coming up, the first is going to feature our Dean of Students, followed by a career and alumni presentation and panel. So we'll just let folks come and grab their seat. And as we move forward with our program, I'm going to go ahead and get us started by welcoming our Acting Dean of Students, Grace Kendall.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cooper, and allow me to extend additional congratulations from all the ones you've heard today already on your admission. As Troy said, I'm Grace Kendall. I'm the Acting Dean of Students. I oversee the Office of Student Affairs that I'm going to talk about in just now. If I can, there we go. Oh. One more, there we go. So the Office of Student Affairs oversees a variety of different programs and activities. The first that you will encounter is Welcome Week and our new student orientation. The other offices are Student Care and Support. You saw Alex earlier leading the student panel. He oversees our Office of Student Care and Support. We have the Center for Career Development. You'll meet one of our staff in that office a bit later in the next presentation. We have the Office of Housing and Residential Life. So if you're interested in living in the on-campus residence hall, you will work with them. Campus life and student activities, and then things like Code of Conduct, Title IX, and our community standards all fall within the purview of our office. So Welcome Week and our new student orientation, I'm going to give you a caveat. These are tentative dates. Don't write them down. Okay? Everybody heard me. These are tentative dates. Before I go to the next slide, don't hold me to this. This is just our projected hypothetical tentative plan of what we think might happen. I'm too short to make the remote control work. So we're anticipating that Welcome Week and our on-campus orientation will be August 26th through September 1st, if classes are scheduled to begin on September 2nd. Welcome Week is how you will get to know the campus. I need to be about 6 inches taller. There we go. So this is what we think is going to happen during Welcome Week of 2025. You will, if you're living on campus, move into the residence hall, meet your new neighbors. If you are not living on campus, you will also spend a lot of time on campus meeting your new peers. There will be lots of community building activities. We will have sessions letting you know what the various offices on campus, where they are, what they can do, introducing you to their services, connecting you to people that will help you succeed during your time here at Cooper. Some of our workshops are listed there. We do things around healthy relationships. We open the campus and let you kind of do a self-guided tour to the different offices. We hear from Alex and his team on student care and support, mental health resources, student wellness, the student insurance plan. We hear from Tom, our Director of Campus Safety, on keeping yourself safe in New York City. We talk about various things like alcohol and substance use and misuse. We have a picnic for the whole campus. We have events where you can participate in a club activity. You can take a trip that we arrange in the nearby area. And you get to know all the different things that will help you, and you start to form the friendships that will carry you through the next 4 and 5 years. You will have student health forms if you choose to go here. Those will be due June 5th. That date you can write down. You will upload those through Slate, which you should already be familiar with, and then the contact person for that you'll hear a variety of different ways in email and posts on Facebook and messages, but it's Eric Conley, who works in our office, who is the person who kind of collates all that data and makes sure that all the blanks are appropriately filled in. If you have medical needs and accommodations, Alex, who you saw earlier, is the person who is your best point of contact. if you have a 504 plan, if you have any kind of accommodations from high school, or if you anticipate needing new accommodations, you'll work with Alex to get all that documentation submitted and get those letters sent out and available to you for your faculty. And that's their logo. So in student care and support, as I mentioned, you have Alex, who leads the team, and then we have 2 on-campus counselors, Cassandra and Elizabeth, who see students on a one-on-one basis. They can do short-term counseling. They can also help connect folks to our off-campus resources. We have a telehealth program that's available to all students free of charge called TELUS and First Stop Health. One does physical health, one does mental health. We don't have an on-campus health center, so you can't go see the nurse if you need a strep test or something like that. You might have to go to one of our nearby health clinics, or you can see a telehealth service for things that they can diagnose you with. For instance, if you have COVID symptoms and you don't think you should go to class, you can talk to a provider through that app or through their website to get a doctor's note that would let us know when would be safe for you to go back to class. We have an off-campus network of counselors also that you can see free of charge for short-term counseling, and then after that it would revert to your insurance if you want some mental health counseling. There's also a student insurance plan that is available to all students. We require you to have insurance, but we don't require you to take our plan. So if you have comparable other insurance coverage, you're welcome to use that instead. And then throughout the semester, throughout the year, they do wellness events on campus. They do things like chair massages. There's therapy dogs that come. They're very cute. You should go snuggle a puppy. Other things where they're providing resources for the campus. As you transition to college, there's lots of things to consider. You should think about what it is that you want to accomplish here. You should think about, your concerns, your hopes, what it is that you want out of the next 4 or 5 years of your college experience. New York City, as everyone has mentioned, is a fantastic place to go to college. There are so many events and activities, many of them free or low charge, that you can make use of while you're here. You should think about things like, what kinds of things do you need to maintain your health? Do you need to transition to a local doctor if you take a medication? Do you need to transition to a local mental health provider if you've been seeing someone? If you have accommodations, what kind of documentation do you need to get and maintain? Think about your support systems. As Dean Shoup mentioned in the last session with parents and families, call home, talk to your parents, talk to your loved ones, talk to your siblings, your friends. Maintain that support. Don't come to Cooper and enter a bubble and not go out again. Those supports that you bring with you are very important to have. We're going to ask you to complete an emergency form. Please do, because sometimes you do things like not answer your parents' phone calls for a week, and then they worry, and then we worry, and we need to get in touch with you, and then let them know that you're okay. Make sure that we relay the message to call back home again. All of those things happen through our office, so if your family's worried about you, we're the people that they call. So, we'll encourage you to get back in touch with them. We are also part of what's called the Healthy Minds Network and a JED campus, which is a variety of services that give us resources for addressing student mental health and helping you be well while you are here. I'm going to talk very briefly about the Center for Career Development because they're here and will be presenting next, and I don't want to steal all of their thunder. But here's an overview of some of the things that they do. They have job and internship and placement fairs. They have a program called See You at Lunch, which has now become See You at Dinner because it was easier for folks to attend, but the legacy name is See You at Lunch. There are, as I said, career fairs. There's visits of different firms, of studios. They provide reviews and feedback on your resume, on interviewing skills, on how to access various services to help you launch into the path that you would like to go on post-Cooper. And they also have a professional development fund to help you kind of achieve those goals. So if you want to attend a conference and it's not fully funded, say by the School of Engineering, or if you're applying to graduate school and you need help with getting a suit or something like that because you have an interview and you don't have something to wear. Those things all happen through the Center for Career Development. one thing that's going to be of key importance to many of you, housing and residential life. You aren't required to live on campus, but we encourage it. It's a good experience. We have one residence hall. It's located at 29 3rd Avenue, about a block and a half north of here. We prioritize new students. So while we don't guarantee housing for anyone due to the size of the building, we prioritize new students, and we prioritize folks who wouldn't be able to otherwise come to Cooper if they didn't have housing. So for instance, if you're from California, you're more likely to be given a housing offer over someone from, the West Village, because they could walk and live at home. And you can't really get here from California on an easy basis. We have primarily double rooms. There are some very small number of single rooms, but it's like 10, and the building houses about 170. So most of you will be living in doubles if you choose to live on campus. After your first year, most students live off campus. We have a limited number of spaces each year based on need that are available to upper-class students, but we do provide support for folks as they're transitioning off campus. We have a local real estate firm that we work with that gives advice and is willing to do free consultations. We also provide materials about how to look for an apartment in New York if that's not an experience you've ever had before. It's a very special experience. We wish you well. But we do provide a lot of resources for you, as well as a Facebook group. So if you're not planning to live on campus your first year and you're also not planning to commute, we can help connect you with those resources earlier if you would like to live off campus. Our general contact for any housing and residential life questions is reslife@cooper.edu. If you're planning to live on campus, ingrain that one in your brain right now. It goes to a variety of staff. Somebody will answer your question, but it goes to a number of us who can help you. The other major part of our office is campus life or student life and student activities. It includes clubs and organizations, athletics, the professional organizations that you've probably heard about in your last session. There's an annual talent show. There's the Welcome Back picnic as part of student life. Welcome Week kind of falls under the student life umbrella itself. We have community building activities. We have smaller and larger scale programs. And if there is a club that you really want to form that we don't have already, we'll help you do that. It only takes a couple other students being interested in the same thing and we can start a new club. We also have, I think I said athletics, we do have one kind of intercollegiate sports team. We have a soccer team, and then we have some more intramural level teams. There's a volleyball league, there is a badminton team, there's a running club, a cycling club, and again, if you're interested in other things, we're certainly open to that. We do bi-weekly open gyms to give students time to kind of play basketball in a more informal way, and we're always looking for more opportunities that students are interested in that we can help support. These are just some examples of our student organizations. They are quite broad and varied, so we have a Black Student Union, we have a dance team, we have the athletics focus clubs that I mentioned earlier, there's music groups, there's a cheese club, or at least there was. I think they maybe are defunct right now, but there's also, a tea club, a Chinese yoga club. When I first got here, there was a hot sauce club, but I think they have also since graduated. But so we're open to things that folks are interested in. It doesn't have to necessarily be something I'm interested in, but we'll help you through that process. And now these are just mostly some photos of various activities. This is our dance team, Cooper Nova. I don't remember which club this is, but I believe they're engineering. Sorry. Students attending different events. This is the Society of Hispanic Engineers. ASCE, one of the engineering groups. Sorry for the hand, I'm too short to make the remote go. But as you can see, motorsports. We have students, this is a Welcome Week photo. Students get involved in a variety of ways. We have some folks working in our office. These are the campus orientation leaders who help with Welcome Week. We also have a group of student programmers called our program assistants who plan events on their own around various special focus interests. You'll see a lot of ads either sponsored by Student Life or sponsored by the program assistants or the orientation leaders. As you can see, our soccer team, the music club, Poco a Poco. This is from the talent show. We have some foosball enthusiasts, folks just in the village. There's lots of variety to get involved here. We know this is a big decision. We hope that understanding the different ways that we can support you in your out-of-class life while you're here will help you in making those decisions, but Alex and I will both be around later this afternoon. If you want to ask any questions of either of us, please feel free. Thank you for your attention. I'm going to turn this back over to Troy, and wherever he may be. Oh, he's on that side, and he's taller than me.
Okay, thank you, Dean Kendall. Our last session of the afternoon is going to be with our friends from Career Development and Alumni Affairs. Prior to inviting them up, I just want to remind everyone to please stay seated after this session, and we will be breaking everyone out into smaller groups as we head over to 46 Cooper Square for the reception, which will be a final opportunity for you to meet with our students, faculty, and staff that you've had an opportunity to either hear or meet in person at some point throughout the day. So now, without further ado, I'd like to invite a few colleagues up. First, our Deputy Director of Alumni Affairs and Development, Jennifer Durst, who will be joined by our Assistant Director for Career Development, Nat Schmidt, and they will be introducing you to 3 of our alums as well. So they can come on up, perhaps.
Can everyone hear me? Yes, that is on. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for wrapping up this exciting day with us. I hope you have all enjoyed learning about your next home for the next 4 years. My name is Nat Schmidt, and I serve as one of the assistant directors at the Cooper Union Center for Career Development, and I'm thrilled to talk to you all today about how the center can support your students' professional development during their time at Cooper. Before diving into the resources that we provide for each school, I do want to provide a little bit of background information on what we do for the institution as a whole. Typically, our office conducts anywhere from 400 to 650 one-on-one student and alumni meetings. Yes, we do meet with alumni annually. We provide individualized, student-focused advising and programming, and our goal as an office is to provide students with the skills and understanding of how to find opportunities aligned with their interests and navigate the world of work on their own post-graduation. We also manage a customized job board and internal portal with extensive career development resources. Additionally, our office offers upwards of $36,000 per academic year in student funding to boost professional growth and development through our Professional Development Fund. Through this fund, we've supported students taking courses and things that Cooper does not offer, such as rug weaving or glass blowing for the art students, travel to industry conferences for the engineering students, and gaining certifications like LEED for the architecture students. So that is an overview of what we provide for the student body as a whole. Now, looking at the schools individually, you can see we offer school-specific programming to cater to the needs of those specific student populations. So I'll start from the left side of the slide and just go along. Starting with the art school, our most salient program for the art school is really the art internship program. If accepted, and you do need to apply, but if you are accepted, students can get $20 per hour for an unpaid internship. This program runs twice per year, once in the academic year, the fall and spring, and then once in the summer as well. Students have worked for many professional artists, galleries, nonprofits, publications, the list goes on. And often these opportunities lead to jobs post-graduation. We've also conducted many specialized workshops for the art school. We brought in a financial advisor who specifically works with artists to discuss budgeting and financial management in the arts. We brought in the Working Artists in the Greater Economy Group, WAGE. They are an organization founded to regulate the payment of artist fees in the nonprofit space. We hosted an MFA panel featuring graduate directors from 4 of the TARP Arts graduate schools. And we've also hosted an event called Art in the City, which featured multiple city agencies like the DCA, DOT, DOB, who discussed artist opportunities and ways in which each of their agencies supports the arts. Lastly, for the art school, we also host a See You at Lunch / See You at Dinner speaker series. This is an intimate speaker series where alumni return to campus to talk with current art students about their art, their practice, and how they've sustained their practice post-Cooper. So for the architecture school, we have a number of different programs as well. We actually launched our architecture career night 2 years ago to great success. We hosted our second annual architecture career night just a month ago in March. It is a career fair with 15 firms or organizations specifically for the architecture students. And this past session, just this past month, we had over 70 students in attendance. And we have confirmation that this has led to students gaining employment this summer, either in internships or full-time opportunities. For the architects, we also host a yearly portfolio review in which we match 20 to 25 students with professionals who work in an organization or architecture firm that they are interested in for a 1-hour Zoom meeting. During this meeting, students share their portfolios with the representatives from the firms. They receive feedback, mentorship, just general information about this industry that they are interested in exploring. We also do have a See You at Lunch speaker series for the architects. It's similar to the See You at Dinner for the art school, but takes place during lunch. Alumni are invited, again, same prospect, to talk about their work and career path post-Cooper. We do have an alternative career speaker series for the architecture school as well, in which speakers are invited to discuss tangential careers to architecture, such as exhibition design. A lot of people who participate in this alternative career speaker series are Cooper alumni as well. And then lastly, we host firm tours. This upcoming week, we actually are taking 15 students to visit Cookfox, the architecture firm in Midtown Manhattan, to tour their office space, hear from their employees, and just learn about working at an organization like Cookfox. Last but not least, the School of Engineering. We host a number of programming options for the School of Engineering as well. Our job and internship fair is definitely our largest program. We manage this fair twice a year, once per semester, one in the fall and one in the spring, and have anywhere from 30 to 50 companies in attendance, all looking to hire Cooper students for either summer internships or full-time job opportunities. We do know that this fair has led directly to students receiving summer internships or full-time job opportunities. We have a large number of different types of employers who come. Some companies of note include the MTA, Con Edison, Jacobs, IBM, Bloomberg, among others. We also host a number of company information sessions each semester, anywhere from 5 to 15 per semester. It really just kind of depends on what the employer availability is, but these are opportunities where students can meet both alumni and professionals who are currently working at companies, learn about the company, ask questions about the application for process for internships and full-time positions, so on. We also have a 3-on-1 alumni dinner series. This is a program in which we match 3 students with 1 alumnus that align with their interests, their career interests, for a dinner. The students dine with the alum and are able to receive mentorship and ask questions related to career development. It's nice for everybody because you get a free meal, and it's also a great opportunity to connect with alumni in your field of interest. We also have a number of specialized programming options for the different majors. For example, last year we hosted a Pathways to Robotic event. That was a presentation of about 10 professionals who work in different industries that all utilize robotics. The professionals were all invited to share about their career paths and how they ended up working in robotics. We have our Careers in Climate event, which we host each year during Climate Week. We partner with 2 alumni to create a panel of other alumni who work within the green economy. The panels discuss various climate and sustainability issues and also speak about how one can work within the green economy as an engineer. We also have major specific programming. For example, we recently took the electrical engineers to visit the Google campus, and we arranged for the chemical engineers to have a series of industry-specific information sessions. We also run many career basics workshops. These are actually open to the entire school, not just the engineers, but covering things like resume writing, interviewing, networking, communication, so on and so forth. And lastly, we conduct resume collections. This is a process in which we review and collect resumes throughout the semester to submit to companies. So through their hard work and our support, we have seen many students go on to pursue some pretty incredible work post-Cooper. We have many students who pursue graduate school at institutions like Georgia Tech, Columbia, Princeton, Yale, Rutgers, and other top schools. For those who choose to enter directly into the workforce, our students are employed by a wide range of organizations. So on the art side, many will go on to assist with notable artists, work in museums, galleries, nonprofits, etc. Some organizations of note include Makerspace NYC, the Art Studio in New York, the Whitney, the Guggenheim, MoMA, Brooklyn College, different places like that. And then for the architecture, we have, on the architecture side, we have a number of alums go on to work at some pretty notable firms like Gensler, SOM, DSNR, Shigeru Ban, Transolar. And on the engineering side as well, you can find Cooper alums at small and large companies across the country and around the world: Amazon, Bloomberg, Blue Origin, Con Edison, Intel, IBM, the New York State Department of Transportation, Stryker, Thornton Tomasetti. You can really find Cooper alumni anywhere. The alumni network at Cooper is extremely strong, and many alumni are happy to try and support currently enrolled Cooper students in any way that they can with their professional development. So I hope that this overview of the services that the Center for Career Development provides was helpful. We look forward to seeing you next year in our office. Congratulations again on your admittance to Cooper, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Nat. And hello, on behalf of the Office of Alumni Affairs, I would like to welcome you all to the Cooper Union, and I'm thrilled you're considering the school for the next step in your educational journey. Cooper Union's 13,000 alumni are passionate about the school and its students. They are spread across the country and around the world and have made significant contributions to their chosen fields. We have a series of feature articles about alumni accomplishments and impact called Cooper Made, which you can find by going to cooper.edu/CooperMade. I encourage you to check it out, as you will be amazed by what you find. We often call Cooper Union and the alumni community small but mighty. Our alumni are eager to be helpful to students. They come back to campus to speak in classes and at larger events here in the Great Hall. They mentor, network, and recruit through career development initiatives, as you just heard from Nat. Many come back to teach or work in various capacities across campus. And they volunteer with our office to organize events to connect the Cooper Union community. This past February, we organized the 8th year of our Cooper Together celebration in over 30 cities and regions around the world, including Asia and Europe. And now I'm going to turn the floor over to 3 alumni. Gabriella, from the graduate of the School of Architecture 2021, Harris, graduate from Mechanical Engineering 2021, as well as a Master's in Engineering 2022, and Fiaco from the School of Art 2019. You can see their bios on the screen, and they will talk more about their Cooper experience and how it launched them into their careers.
Okay, hi everyone. Congratulations again. This is very exciting for all of you. My name is Gabriella. I graduated from the architecture school in 2021, and I started in 2016. I grew up in New York City, so I always knew about Cooper. I knew about the great legacy and the incredible education that it could provide, as well as the great careers that alumni go on to have. I came from a high school that did not have a focus in arts or architecture or engineering at all, so I came here fresh, ready to learn, and everything was new to me. I won't lie when I say that it was hard at first compared to some of my peers that had a background in these things. But there were two things that I quickly realized and still hold on to about my Cooper education. And the first one is that the only way to learn is by doing. You get thrown into it. Cooper is a small school, so you're gonna get a lot of attention from your professors, but you also can't really hide. You can't fly under the radar. And still to this day, I realized as much as I put into my education and my job and my career is what I'm gonna get back from it. And the second most important thing that I felt is that Cooper is not a competitive place. I never believed that a learning environment should be competitive because we all learn from each other and have different things to teach each other every day. You have to work in teams often, which is how it is in the real world. So having friends in the architecture school, in my program, and in the other schools as well, engineering and art, that were happy to help me along the way is something that I'm so grateful for. And I try to bring to teams that I work on now. So as each of my 5 years in the architecture school went on, I felt more confident in my abilities. I enjoyed the work. My friends that I still see almost every week. Again, it's a small school, so you're gonna get to know everybody really well. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't sad to be graduating. But after my graduation, I started working full-time about 1 month after graduating Cooper, and I've been working at the same firm, Datner Architects, for almost 4 years now. I found Datner actually because of a Cooper alum. She came for a lecture when I was in my second year of architecture school, and I reconnected with her during my thesis year. This alum has also been working at the company since her graduation in 2006, so it's a great kind of Cooper legacy. So this graduate has kind of become my mentor over the past 4 years, and it's really nice to be able to connect over the Cooper legacy. And as for some of the current work that I'm doing, Datner Architects works with a lot of public agencies like the MTA, the Sanitation Department, and the New York State Parks Department, which is the area of work that I specialize in. So some of my projects currently include historic preservation of a golf clubhouse out in Montauk, as well as the rehabilitation of a couple buildings at Riverbank State Park up in Harlem. Last year, I became a registered architect, and I really love just being able to have the technical knowledge that Cooper helped instill in me and just the drive to get licensed as soon as possible after my graduation. So the last thing I'll say is I definitely would not be where I am now without the opportunities that Cooper made available to me. All the professors, the staff and administration that you actually will interface with on a daily basis. It's a small campus, so you're seeing them every single day. And like many of you here, my parents who supported me and my decision to come to Cooper throughout the whole way.
Hello. Oh, nice. Hi, everyone. My name is Harris Pasqualetti. Graduated in 2021 with my bachelor's and 2022 with my master's. I joined Cooper in 2017, the fall. So first off, I just want to congratulate all of you for getting admitted into Cooper. You know, the nerve-wracking part is done. Maybe you have Cooper on your mind. Maybe you have a list of colleges, and you should ask yourself, you know, Cooper chose you. Why are you going to choose Cooper, right? So that's your decision you have to make. Piggybacking off of what Grace said earlier in terms of the student organizations, Cooper has a lot to offer. When I was in the institution, I was on the dance team. I played volleyball on that team as well. And there's a lot of fun clubs and activities going around. You know, during my time, I did see that cheese cult that was on the screen earlier. So I want to talk about why I choose Cooper. And that's because when I'm looking at the different schools that, you know, I had in my mind, there's city schools, there's schools out in the country, there's all this going around, but kind of piggybacking of what you mentioned before is when you come to Cooper, you get a really personalized education. You know, I think the ratio of student-teacher is kind of like 8-to-1. You know, your classes are small. You go through each class with kind of like the same set of friends. You learn together, you work together. It's not the easiest, but the caliber of students that come out of Cooper is like no other, and I'll say that. Going forward, in terms of how I started my job at Jacobs, like was mentioned before, Cooper offers a career fair in the spring and in the fall. My company, Jacobs Engineering, attends that almost every semester. I personally come to support the students and, you know, have a conversation with them as well. And actually, when I was a student in my senior year, that's how I got my job. I met with someone from the Jacobs booth. They said, "Hey, did you take this course?" I did. Okay, that's great. Okay. So they said, "Okay, how do you like it? Do you want to continue doing CFD, computational fluid dynamics?" I said, yeah, you know, it was fun. But I learned to love it, right? And the reason why Jacobs chose students from Cooper, almost 20% of my team is Cooper alumni, ranging from people that graduated back in '87 to my year in 2021, and even we hired someone from graduating 2022 as well. So we know the caliber of students coming out of Cooper, right? So Jacobs selects based on that. And the Career Center plays a vital role in terms of nurturing not only your academic caliber, but also how you reach out to the world. For engineering students, you know, sometimes some students need a little extra help in terms of being more social, being more active. They have classes for that. ESC is one of the first classes you take as a student engineer, which is kind of, you know, going around, practicing your presentation skills, making sure you're comfortable in front of large audiences. And this really helps when you come into the real world and you exit the institution. You know, you're gonna have to present, you're gonna have to interact with a lot of people, a lot of different teams. And so, yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, so going on in terms of working, I worked in Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, as an infrastructure engineer doing fire life safety. And there I met a lot of fantastic Cooper alums, actually, from all corners of the world. And, you know, people's ears usually perk up like, oh, you're from Cooper? Because when people know Cooper, they know that, oh, okay, this student or this person has come and they've graduated with sincerely one of the finest educations that, you know, you come across. So yeah, thank you all, and congratulations again on being accepted.
Hi, my name is Fiaco, and I'm a graduate of the art school. And one thing that you should know about me is I'm from the Midwest. I went to a public school out in Missouri, and I wanted to come to New York City, and I really wanted to make a name for myself and really learn about art. And Cooper is absolutely the place to do that. I think my entire world was like turned up on its head, and I learned how to speak about art, to make art in a very particular way that will exceed a level of professionalism in many spaces that you'll be in. And definitely a lot of things that helped me were the Career Center. You know, like I received some of the funding from the professional internship program. That's part of the reason why I work where I work now. I work at the Robert Blackburn Printmaking Workshop, and I work mostly in collaborative lithography. And so without sort of that funding, I wouldn't have been able to take on that internship, because a lot of times with art, you know, the internships are unpaid. And I think a lot of parents have anxieties around if their kid can have a job in the field that they love. And I want to tell you that they absolutely can. Like, this is a place to go to for that. The Career Center constantly works with their students. They also definitely have alumni affair support. So after I graduated from Cooper and I had a lovely job and I fell in hard times, I was able to reconnect with my alumni association, and I thought it'd be tricky to get, an appointment, but it wasn't. And they made time for me. They assured me that it's okay, and I was able to then get a job back here in New York City. So when I was at Cooper, I came in as a painting major, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. And I actually transitioned much more over to printmaking, and I just wanted to say the shop technicians here are so fantastic, so knowledgeable and kind, and really fostered my love and talent for that. And so I decided to go off and do printmaking with the internship program. It was a summer internship, and I learned studio administrative skills. I also was able to receive funding from the Career Center to extend different courses. I was able to take courses in coding and web development, and that was amazing. Anything from taxidermy, you can do a lot of really interesting things outside of Cooper. And so after graduation, I was able to go on and seek secondary education. I went to a trade school in Albuquerque, where I went to the Tamarind Institute, where I was trained in collaborative lithography. And so now I currently am back in New York City, and I work as a collaborative printmaker. And so I work with artists, and I will process their images, and I do that out of several different shops in New York. I was also able to work at the Roswell Artists in Residency program, also continuing collaborative lithography. I think other sort of support systems I got from the Career Center was how to write a resume. Like, it seems like you would know how to do that, but really they'll tell you the secrets that you don't learn in high school, that you won't learn other places: how to format things, how to write cover letters, how to be present in an interview. I think as artists, it's not always just about making art, it's about making impressions, it's about working with people. And the Career Center will prep you on how to do that. They'll open doors for you. They will fundamentally change the way that you think about a professional art career. And I would say that they're absolutely essential in the role that Cooper has played in my career. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll spend a few minutes now asking a few questions of the panelists. My first question is, you've talked about how your education prepared you for your career. Could you each talk about specific skills that you learned at Cooper that have been most valuable in your professional journey?
Sure, I'll take this one first. So in terms of skills I learned at Cooper, as I mentioned before, there are some companies that have these Cooper alumni that they know the caliber of student that come out of Cooper. Specifically, there's some courses that you can take. Some might be master's levels courses or grad level courses. Some are just integrated into your requirements to graduate: fluids, thermodynamics, all these core fundamentals. Coming out of Cooper, I still use those skills. Used it to take and obtain the PE license, and that's kind of made me leap forward in front of my peers when it comes to the industry, as well as in my own team. Specifically, my team looks for people that have taken certain classes at Cooper. So automatically when we come to these career fairs that Cooper hosts, our ears perk up, you know, when we hear or we see it on someone's resume, they've taken these classes, we know the level of skill they must have to accomplish that. Yeah.
I also would like to add on for the art department is we don't have to declare a major, and so many art students have a very large range of skills. Like even if you're a painter, you're going to learn how to work a drill. You're going to know how to work in metals. There's so many different classes, and Cooper really encourages you to branch out, so whenever you graduate, you are then able to apply those to many different things. If it's curatorial work, gallery work, if it's assisting work, if it's, you know, anything in between. And so I think Cooper will definitely give you the tools that you need in order to go on and do jobs.
I'll also add something that you mentioned earlier, Fiaco, is speaking about your work and defending your work. In the architecture school, you are presenting your drawings or your model almost on the weekly basis in front of your professors, visiting critics, your peers. So being comfortable speaking in front of large groups of people who are going to criticize your work is common, and it makes it a lot easier when you get into the job force in the real world when you need to defend your work and what you believe in.
So you've talked, my next question has to do with what advice would you give to our prospective students here about internships, networking? And it's more around hindsight's 2020. So you look back and how would you, what would you recommend in terms of prioritizing your time, in terms of making the most of your time at Cooper Union in order to set yourselves up for success at graduation?
Was it specifically for architecture, or did you say everything? Okay. Going back, I would definitely sleep is important. Sleep is really important. Do as many activities as you can, and come to the career center is really what I would say. I wish I had come here more. I think it's really easy to get locked into classes. Cooper students work very hard, and they'll push themselves to points where it can be tricky sometimes. And so I would definitely say is take care of yourself and know that it's not all about just one art class and this one project you're working on. It's about what you're gonna do after Cooper.
I'll follow that up with just kind of saying, hindsight is 2020. So sometimes it's encouraged for students to kind of look outside their bubble. And what I mean by that is, as a high school student, your life might be all high school. Oh my goodness, this next test is gonna be the death of me, whatever it may be. The college student thinks that same way, and they need perspective. Everyone needs perspective. Even now, we're all lifetime learners, right? So what I recommend and what the Career Center recommended to me was, Harris, you don't know, I'm confused. Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? Do I want to apply here, there? What industry I want to be in? Okay, Harris, it's okay. What industry are you interested in? Okay, and do we have alumni in that industry? Okay, we do. You can find them on LinkedIn. We have their numbers, or you can connect with them. They're going to show up to the career fair, or they're coming in to give a presentation. Spend 15 minutes, talk to them, 5 minutes of their time, kind of gain their perspective. What's the worst they can say? They can say no, right? That's the worst. It doesn't hurt anyone. And at the same time, if you have that perspective, you can make informed decisions going forward. You don't want to waste your time chasing something that's not for you. So gaining that perspective is kind of the best thing that I was taught at Cooper in terms of getting, you haven't been through it, right? But you get that hindsight 2020 perspective from someone that has gone through it. And it might not be for you, but it might also be for you. It might give you the motivation to keep going forward. Thank you.
I'll say, looking back on my time at Cooper, I've always been a very practical person. If I was designing a building in school, I want to make sure it could work in the real world. And I think it's a balance of college being the time to be experimental and creative. If I designed an upside-down pyramid right now, my structural engineer is going to want to kill me. But, you know, school is the time to think outside of the box and try new things and not worry so much, how is it going to look in my portfolio? I think what's more important is if you are able to represent yourself through the work, no matter how like outlandish or crazy it might be. It's always important to represent yourself and, again, defend your ideas, even if they're out there.
And you have talked about how the Cooper Union Alumni Network helped you launch your careers. What advice do you have for our prospective students in terms of building professional connections after graduation?
I would say just when you're a student, say yes to everything. Go to every single alumni lecture. Go to if you're an architecture student, a lot of the Architecture League events are hosted here that you have access to. If there's an opportunity to have your portfolio reviewed by alumni, say yes. The worst that could happen is that you don't get an internship right away, but you have a connection. There are a lot of events and opportunities that, looking back, I wish I had gone to more of them.
To add on to that, I would also say, don't stop making art after graduation. Go to shows. Every Tuesday, Cooper will have a beautiful senior exhibition. Please go to that. And the people in your cohort, when you graduate, those are the people that you're going to be doing group shows with. Support each other. It's hard after graduation, but you'll always have other very talented artists around you, and you need to lean on each other. You need to continue to bounce ideas off of each other. Otherwise, your art will stagnate. And so please, please, please continue to make art.
I would say I've had many students that are in the institution just kind of reach out to me, finding me either, doing maybe the careers department has pointed them, towards me, and other alumni are also very happy to kind of lend their name and give, 30 minutes of their time on a weekend to kind of have a chat with the student. You start to realize that once you're in Cooper, you're looking for all these resources, which are abundant. You just have to make use of it, and that means getting out of the dorm and walking downstairs to the careers department during club hours or what it may be. And then also, when you become an alumni, you start to realize that you're in this position where you can start to give back to Cooper, and you can start to help those that are in the position that you once were in, right? So that's what I try to do, and a lot of my peers in my graduating class and years above and years below, where we try to give back as much as we can to the institution, because we know that by giving back, it puts Cooper and students such as potentially yourselves to succeed even further.
Thank you. And on that note, I would like to thank you all for being here and listening to about career development and alumni affairs here at the Cooper Union. And thank you, Gabriella, Harris, and Fiacco for sharing your words today. Thank you.
I'd like to thank our panelists again, and they hopefully will be joining us for the reception. I will let you take your seat. Thank you all. Okay. All right. So now it is time for us to come together and celebrate each other's acceptance to the Cooper Union one final time to cap off our event. We're going to be heading to 46 Cooper Square, and I will be releasing us by groups. Again, wristbands are required in order to enter the reception. And also a note that there are several flights of steps in 46 Cooper, and there is one elevator. So for those that really need it, obviously we'd like you to use it. If you're able, though, please join us as we all climb the steps in a very beautiful Grace High School building. So with that, I will say thank you to our attendees on the live stream. We hope to see you on campus soon. And for our attendees in person, I'm going to start releasing us. And we will have, it looks like Juan and Alicia are holding up Peter Cooper signs. We're going to start with the last 3 rows, going straight across the back. If you would follow Alicia and Juan, the last 3 rows, straight across. Everyone from the last 3 rows, if you'll head on over to 46 Cooper. Everyone else, just sit tight. It'll be about 3 to 5 minutes before we release the next group.